What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show is to be or not to be. But before we go to the show, I'd like to introduce myself, who I am. For people who know me, it's easy. I'm medical doctor who actually quit traditional medicine in 2001 and became Akashic Records consultant, teacher, and then later Access Consciousness Facilitator and 3-day Body Facilitator, also published author. So I have a lot of different hats, as well as I've been, before all that social isolation and the countries closing down, I traveled the world and facilitated classes and people to create more in their lives. Right now, a lot of things available online. So you're welcome to look at my website, creatingabundancewithease.com, and see what I'm up to those days. So to be or not to be, it is a question that has been asked through centuries, including in the famous Shakespeare play Hamlet. Is it still relevant? Absolutely. So let's play with the question, with tools that can get us into that space of being. What is to be? Because a lot of people look at that and yeah, I am a doctor, I am a wife, I am a mother, I am. All those I ams are not being. All those I ams is a function, action, proving, doing. All of that, does that make you happy? Some of them do. Some of them actually create the feelings and emotions that we call happiness. But is it actually the functions that makes us happy or that space of being? There is a scale of emotions, and you can Google it. I don't have it in front of me, which is bad host, bad host, bad host. Um, and on a scale of emotion, each emotion has has amount of megahertz, the vibrations that measurement basically. So when we look at what we label a negative emotion, like sadness, anger, they all very low, sometimes under 1, sometimes under 10. When we go into on that emotional scale, it says happiness, joy, love, they're in the hundreds, like 500, 700, 1,000. Such a difference. Can the doing create that? No. When we're talking about joy, when we're talking about love, when we talk unconditional love, we're not talking about that romantic love that has so many definitions. Oh, I just found the scale. Thank you, Christine. That's wonderful. And it's actually guilt is 30. It's a little different than the one I saw. The shame is 20, apathy is 50, and so on and so. It's Hawkins frequency. Um, love is 500, joy is 540, and enlightenment is 700 to 1,000. Um, When we look at the pride, it's 175, anger is 150. And what's interesting, when people are in depression or in shame, in the guilt, for them to get out of that, from that state of emotional suffering, one of the ways of getting them out of it is to get them angry, kick them in the butt, basically. But when we're talking about actual happiness, joy, and love, it's spaces of being. Those are not emotions anymore. It's where we are actually being ourselves, that infinite being that goes beyond the definition that you kind of like grown accustomed in your life, where you define yourself in those terms that I was talking earlier: a wife, a doctor, a child. Doesn't matter how you define yourself, all of that is doing and proving. When we are being, we don't have to prove anything. So instead of getting you angry, or maybe some of you got angry with what I was talking about, which is good. Maybe if you were especially in the guilt and apathy and all those things, or grief, getting you angry is good thing. But that's not my intention. The other thing is getting out of guilt is fear, which is interesting. But let's not go there. Let's go in a little bit different space, the space of being. And we cannot describe it in words as much as experience it. When you're in nature and you're totally relaxed and totally being one with nature, that's a space of being. When you're totally in love unconditionally, that's a space of being. When you're in that joy, laughter, you're being the total space of peace. So let's do expansion exercise. And if you'd like to do it on a daily basis, you can find it on my website, Creating Abundance with Ease. And that kind of like gets you sign up for my newsletter. It comes out once a month. Sometimes emails come out a little bit more, but not much more. So just relax. If you're sitting, just notice where you're sitting. You can close your eyes or you don't have to. And please don't close your eyes if you're driving or operating heavy machinery. Yeah, not a good idea. That might result in accident and getting you out of your body, which is kind of like depends on what you're choosing, might or might not be a bad thing. But if you like your body, if you like your life, or even if you don't, because you still can change it, don't close your eyes when you're driving. So just relax, feel your butt sitting or laying down, feel your body, and open your crown. Just allow yourself to be completely open to the universe. If you believe in God, to God, divine, um, whatever you believe in, because this is not about religion. It's not a religious experience. This is not about philosophy. This is about being who you are with what is, experiencing your true self, as some people call it, your higher self, some people call it. But in reality, it is an infinite being that you are. That's pretty much it. So open your crown and allow the light or energy or whatever you can imagine go through your head, through your body, and through your feet, and go to the earth, through earth to the core, and pull it through the core, through your body, and out of your head. Allow it to mix in your heart. Kind of like see those two energies mixing and swirling, and keep pulling from above and from below, and allow it to expand in your body first. Allow that energy, the mixture of the divine and earth energy in your body, in every cell. If you see any darkness, any spots where the energy cannot get to, just allow it to dissolve those spots and move beyond them. Right now, just allow that energy to go just a little bit outside your body, maybe an inch or a couple of inches, but all over your body, creating the silhouette of you. And keep pulling the energy from above and below. Pull more energy, and now allow that silhouette, or you might turn it into a sphere, expand to the size of the room you're in. Allow it to fill the room. If you're outside, just maybe a few meters or a few yards in all directions, up, down, sideways, and keep expanding it a mile, a kilometer, depending where you live, a few miles, few kilometers, 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 100,000 miles. Make yourself bigger than Earth. Allow yourself to go beyond Earth. And now beyond solar system. Keep expanding beyond everything you've known as the universe is, and beyond multiverse. Even more, even more, even more, even more. And just from that space, notice without contracting. Hopefully by now you feel internal peace. And that's a vibration of the being. It's a little different than what you're used to when you're functioning from contraction in your body. And you can contract and see how it feels. No, just expand again. And with that, we are going on a break. This is our first break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we will be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is to be or not to be. Before we went on a break in our first part, we were talking about emotions, spaces of being, and emotional scale, according to Hawkins. With all of that, we did an exercise, which is one of my favorite expansion exercise. And you can find more on my website, Creating Abundance with Ease. So to be or not to be, we're so used to that question with Hamlet that we don't pay attention to actually what does it mean? Because we talked a little bit about being, but what is not to be? And actually, that's what we are most of our lives. We are not being. When we are upset, when we are in judgment, when we are creating havoc in our lives, that's actually the opposite of being. Because as we saw on the emotional scale, all those spaces of being are very high vibration. And when we are in joy or love or whatever it is that makes us happy, we're being. Anything else is not being, and especially not being us. Because I'm also a being you facilitator with Access Consciousness, and we have what's called specialty classes, being you. It's based on Being You book by Dr. Dane Hare. And by the way, highly, highly recommend that book. It's on Audible, it's on Kindle, it's paperback, it's hardcover. You can choose pretty much your poison, which is not poison of consciousness, let's put it this way. And it has a lot of tools that helps us to come out of not being into being, and especially being us. A lot of times what happens is we're happy. And then what do? Sabotage ourselves. At least a lot of us, including yours truly. I would create some havoc, either go into relationship that doesn't work, to say it mildly, or even as simple as eating something that I judged was inappropriate or bad for me, and then going into judgment of myself. How many of you doing that? You ate something delicious, but let's say a chocolate cake or an ice cream, and you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't eat it. Even that 2 seconds ago, you were so happy. It was so delicious. It was so wonderful. You were like on the top of the world. It was like, it was orgasmic. And yet, 15 minutes later, you're like, why did I eat that? Granted, maybe your body kind of like reacted to that, or maybe not. Maybe it's all those points of view you have about what's good for your body without even asking your body. And that's when we go from to be to the space of not to be. Judgment is probably one of the most intricate and the most insidious things that gets us out of the spaces of being, getting out of the space of joy, out of space of that wonder and being that we've created just a minute ago by letting go of the judgment. Because you cannot have judgment and joy in the same space unless it's in a sentence or just saying it. Just saying it. Try to be in judgment and experience joy. How does it work for you? Mm-mm. And when you're in joy or like in that space of being, are there any judgments? Probably not. And as soon as the judgments come in, usually that joy kind of like starts working away. I know it. I've done it many times. And I've seen it many times when other people create it. What if by just knowing and seeing that, oh, we're in judgment right now, what if we let go of that? And by the way, a little secret, don't tell anyone. 99% of your judgments are not yours. We are kind of like a psychic antennas or psychic sponge. We absorb everything and everyone's emotion and feelings. Good, bad, or ugly, doesn't matter. We sense them. And if we don't know that we're sensing it, we absorb it. Because sensing meaning, okay, Uncle Joe has pain in his ear. Okay, fine. What's required here? Nothing. Cool. Let him have his pain. Oh, she's judging herself that she's fat. Am I going to do that? Nah, not mine. Just ask, who does that belong to for every thought, feeling, and emotion? Access Consciousness has an app on the phone. On the phone, iPad, it's on Android, it's on Apple. I'm not sure about the Windows because I know it's more for a mobile device because it's an app. I have no idea if there are apps for the computers, but it's very basic. It's Access Consciousness app. Who does it belong to? And it's kind of like a reminder asking that question. One of the tools I recommend for this week, for every thought, feeling, emotion, and sensation in the body, asking who does that belong to. And I do encourage you to download that app. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. Because I hope you have an app for Inspired Choices Network where you're listening to me either now or in the future in the recording. Doesn't matter if you're listening live or in the recording, it's still the same information, same energy. The only difference, live, you can ask questions. You can get in the chat and type in your questions, or I think you might even come in on Zoom so we can chat and maybe get facilitated out of some points of view that's not allowing you to be. So how many of you, actually, I take it back. Not how many of you are in a space of being or being you. It's how much time are you in the space of being you. And space of being you, as I said, it's joy, happiness, life, or just simple peace, where you don't have any judgments, when you're totally being you and can choose, like from the space of being, That's a place where you can choose either to be happy or to be miserable. It's all about choice. Nothing happens to you. You create everything in your life. So, what if you start creating joy instead of misery? What if you start creating life out of orgasmic experience instead of pathetic experience? How many of you decided that you cannot? And I love the quote from Archimedes. I think it was Archimedes who said that, or Aristotle, probably Aristotle. He was a philosopher, right? But they both were amazing and they wrote a lot of interesting books. They said people are divided into two categories. One category that says, I can, and the other category of people that says, I cannot. And both are right, or both are correct. Because whatever we decided, wherever category we placed ourselves, that's how we act. That's from that energy we choose. And when we choose, things starts appearing in our lives. And the choice is not what you think, kind of like that decision, I'm going to do that. No. Choice is more like I'll have it, or sometimes it could be a stupid choice. Oh, I'm afraid that it's going to happen. I'm afraid that it's going to happen is still a choice. Creating out of fear, or creating out of judgment, or creating out of space of being. It's about what you will choose or not choose. Oh, I'm not going to do that. That's too hard. That's a choice. Oh, no, 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 no. I cannot do that. I don't know how. What if you can? And you can learn. Oh, I don't do social media. I, I hate that. That describes me. I'm not doing social media. I hired somebody. So you still can do it, but not doing it. So what if you just ask, what else is possible here? What choice do I have that I have not even considered? What if you ask questions like, what are the infinite possibilities that's available here? What grand and glorious adventure can I have here? What is possible beyond what I can imagine, and how much I can choose just by being? And it's time for our second break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is to be or not to be. And before we went on our second break, we were talking about the emotions and how it gets us out of being. And that's not even ours. And using the app on Access Consciousness, who does it belong to? In the first part of the show, we actually did expansion exercise that allowed us to be in that space of being. And right now, let's talk about how we love to sabotage our happiness, how we are always waiting for the second shoe to drop, or kind of like something goes wrong. What if we are creating that? And we kind of touched up on that on, I think, first or second part of the show. You can listen again if you like. But right now, think about the moments in your life where you were absolutely on the top of the world. And then what? Somebody said something, somebody did something, and it wasn't your fault. It was just something. Yeah, but how much of that were your expectation and projection that something will go wrong? It's almost inevitable in this reality that if somebody is happy, that something will occur. But is that actually true? No. It's an entrainment. It's our expectation that create those things that sabotage us, gets us out of that joyful space of being us. And what our points of view create our reality, according to Access Consciousness, according to founders Gary Douglas and Dane Hare. And with all of that, it's pretty much like, if you look at any modality, any spiritual teaching, you will see that it always talks about good times, bad times, and how to make bad times shorter and the good times longer. What if it's all points of view? What if you can just be happy no matter what's going on in your life? When I was younger, I was doing Phoenix Rising Yoga. And part of kind of classes, we did some meditation, some exercises. And one of them was meditating on Osha cards, tarot cards. And I got one where 3 women were dancing in the rain. Because our space, our joy, happiness does not depend on what's going on in our lives as far as facts. It's our attitude that dictates how we feel. Because like right now, I go through extremely difficult period in my life. My daughter has been diagnosed with cancer. And I'm still like, when we were in Mexico together, and we were laughing hysterically till 2 o'clock in the morning because that's a choice. Yeah, cancer is there, and it will not be there because we can cure it or not. It's about the choice that the person makes, not about other people. It's about the choice that every one of us can make. But if we are in a space, and usually cancer gets created when people are unhappy, when they want to get out of this life. So if you change that, if you change into joy and happiness, cancer just disappears. It's just like darkness. Darkness does not exist in the presence of light. So, how much of our perception and how we're supposed to act and how we're supposed to be is dictated by the society, by our upbringing, that we are supposed to be sad when we are ill, that we're supposed to do this and that, and we're supposed to be angry when somebody judges us, and we're supposed to get upset when somebody cheats on us. All of that is just a point of view. How much, what if we actually changed our point of view? How much we can allow ourselves to be in that space of joy, no matter what's going on, or at least the space of peace. And that's what being is. So, what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose to be or not to be? Are you going to choose to be you or not to be you? We now have official Being You Day, which is May 22nd. It's actually birthday of founders of Access, both Gary and Dane. And a few months ago, people asked to, to create the International Being You Day. You know, there is an international um, Women's Day, International blah, blah, blah Day. And now there is a Being You Day. During the first Being You Day, there was 24 hours of different people, different interviews, different shows, different like movies, not uh, actual movies. I'm not talking about um, the fictional movies or anything like that. But there was a lot of things like live interviews with different facilitators, different people around the world that know what is being you. It was such a joy. I was watching the whole thing, and it was something changed in the world that day. Because when I woke up the next morning, everything looked different. The world was not the same when we chose to be us. So, how much are we avoiding it? And part of it, what I realized throughout the years, is that um, a lot of times we are not being us because we are trying to prove or disprove other people's judgments. What happens is, let's say our parents want us to be something, and we're going to resist and react and do everything possible not to be that, which a lot of times is actually not being us. It doesn't mean that their projections are true, but they might be that they see who we are and would like us to be more of that, but because we're in a resistance and reaction, or the other side of the equation, because they want us to be something that we are not, we align and agree with them and create us in that image. And that image is all we know. We, a lot of times we have no idea who we are because we bought so many points of view of other people. When I got my divorce, it literally, that divorce was, I kind of felt freedom to choose for me now, not from the point of view that I am a wife and I have to do what's good for the family or for my husband or for my daughter. Now, what do I choose? And I had no clue. I had no idea who I was, to the point where I had no idea what I like to eat. Because when I was cooking, I was concentrating and cooking for my family. So whatever they liked, I would cook. Didn't matter if I liked it or not. It was all about them. When we are being us, it's not about just for me. It's about oneness. It's about when we are being us truly, not just out of judgment, I'm going to be me and selfish and all of that. No, when we are being us, it's about what creates the most for us and everybody else. It's kingdom of we, not kingdom of me, kingdom of them, because a lot of times we function from either or universe, not from the choice. And the choice is A or B. But what if it's not? What if it's A and B and C and D and all of the letters of alphabet and all the numbers and all the colors and everything, an infinite possibility of what's possible? Um, there was something just recently. We were talking about, okay, so are we choosing chocolate or vanilla? And I'm like, I want something else, a different flavor. So we went to a different place and we got, I don't remember, but it was something delicious. And it's time for our third and final break of the show. Time flies. You've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself on Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is to be or not to be. This is kind of like our last segment of the show. Just want to remind you that it's every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And for your time in the world, you can look up on Inspired Choices Network. You can always listen to it either live or in the recording on a lot of different platforms. I think it's about 200 audio and another 50 video, smart TV as well. So next week, we will have a show in Russian, which is called Духовное богатство, which is spiritual wealth. And we will be talking in Russian about money versus spirituality and all of that mixed in. Even if you don't understand Russian, A lot of time the energetic awareness is still there, so you can listen to it even if you don't understand the language, because it's all about energy. We are energetic beings, and when we talk about being us, to be or not to be, it's not physical, it's energetic. So my invitation to you is kind of like sense, where are you functioning from the solidity of this reality, of this physical world, versus when you're actually being. And being doesn't mean not doing. A lot of people misidentify that. A lot of people talk about that, oh, being is just doing nothing. Doing nothing is still doing. And doing nothing is proving that you're being versus you're not. Being, you can do a lot of things when you're being. You can accomplish a lot. Like for me, when I'm in a space of being, I am more open to creating much more. I remember a few years ago, I've decided to be. And at that time, my idea of being, that's kind of like opened my eyes. My idea of being was literally do nothing. So I'm like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be resting. I'm going to be being. I'm not doing anything. Ha ha. So I decided to stay in that, watch TV, which is not still not being. It's still doing watching TV, or read a book, still doing reading a book, or playing on the computer, still doing something. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing nothing. 5 minutes into that, I'm like, I'm bored. So I sent some emails. I did some work on the computer. I did something. I don't remember what it was, but it was maybe posted classes, but or responded to some people. And I'm like, wait, I'm doing a lot of things right now. No, no, no. I'm going to be being, which is doing nothing. 5 minutes later, went to the computer, did a lot more. And it was very, very productive day because I didn't resist to doing. I was choosing in the moment. And that's what being truly is. Right now, I didn't schedule any Being You classes. I'm going to be taking recertification this weekend. And then I'll schedule more classes for Being You. There are a couple of 3-day body classes that's scheduled on the website that you can look up, which still might be postponed because of COVID, because England is still amber as far as quarantine with United States, and Taiwan is still completely closed. So I probably will add a few classes, so which I'll just keep checking on Creating Abundance with Ease or on accessconsciousness.com website. Either or will show up all the classes that I'm doing, or just connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, under Helen Gitlevich, Helen_Gitlevich, and or just check my Linktree, Linktree/Dr. Helen Gitlevich. With all of that that's going on, oh hi! And when you're being, I have Bella coming in and joining us on this show. She loves being present and just saying hi. That's her ears right here. Hi. You want to climb more? So, and animals, they don't have any point of view about being. They don't have any point of view about doing. They actually, when they're doing something, they're being. They're such gracious with everything they choose. And if it's something they don't like, they'll let you know. And how much are we, when we are doing, and a lot of times we do things that we don't like. That's not being. When we're doing something that we hate, that's not being. It's about being grateful. And the more we are grateful, the more we are actually being. And the more we are being, the more we are grateful. And I just hit my computer. It just went wild. So what if it's about choosing for you? So to be or not to be? Our show is coming to the end this week. Join me next week in Russian, and the following week will be in English. Don't have a topic for you yet, but probably will be something fun to talk about, like orgasmic eating or eating for your body. That would be fun to talk about it, right? Or just choosing orgasmic life. How much more can you literally accomplish in your life if you were in a space of being instead of resistance and reaction or alignment and agreeing? What if it's about choosing for you instead of against somebody or with somebody? How often somebody suggests something and we're like, nope, not doing that. Not from the space it doesn't work for me, but from the space I'm not going to do it just because you told me so. Is that a contribution to you and your body? No. Because a lot of times we look at things that people offer us and they're like, oh, just because they're telling me to do, I'm not going to do it. Or, oh, because they told me to do it, maybe it's good and I'll do it. What if you step back? Actually, not back, but step into the space of question. What will work for me? What is that I desire? What is that will create more in my life? What will create my life instead of decaying it? There is so many questions that you can start asking, and that's what starts creating, not the resistance and reaction or alignment and agreeing. And that's where to be or not to be is a question. Because when we are being, we're creating. When we are not being, especially not being ourselves, is where we are destroying our lives, creating illnesses, because a lot of times when we are creating our lives out of somebody else's choices, it's destroying our lives. Because even we are doing something that other people tell us, a lot of times the resistance and reaction inside is still there. And we're like, okay, I'll do it, but I don't like it. And all of that creates this is, the not is, either in our lives or in our bodies. So what if you start changing it into gratitude for whatever you chose before? What if it's not a wrongness? What if everything you chose up to now, doesn't matter if it's from resistance and reaction or alignment and agreeing, even if it's from the judgment, even if it's from decisions and points of view, what if you let it go now? And so grateful for you. And the show is ending, and I'll see you or talk to you next week. Take care. And for the next week, just keep asking, who does that belong to? And what would I like to do? Bye.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.